Want to know how you can get Alex Hormozi's exact content system in your business for a fraction of the $70,000 per month that he pays? It's no secret that Hormozi is crushing it when it comes to content, and in this video, I'm going to break down the secret behind his entire strategy and show you exactly how you can build the same system in your business today. There's been a major shift in the last 12 to 18 months, and if you're not jumping on board now, you'll be left behind very soon. But I'm guessing that's not you if you're here. You've probably noticed the bigger names in the online entrepreneurial space, like the Alex Hormozis, the Ravi Abuvalas, and the Tanner Chittisters, go from living in complete obscurity, scaling their businesses with paid ads, and rarely, if at all, putting out content, to now being extremely bullish on YouTube in particular, and then repurposing that content across different channels. Now, if you haven't seen it, Alex Hormozi recently said,
for us to put out the stuff that we put out right now across all platforms, for Layla and I, costs about $70,000 a month.
And the good news is you don't have to spend anything close to this to do the same thing. That's because the secret is in the systems, which we perfected over the last 2.5 years and have installed into over 100+ brands at this point. And I'm not going to be holding back in this video, breaking that all down for you here. And before we dive into the strategy, let's make sure this even makes sense for you to focus on based on where you're at in your growth. So who is this video for? This is for you if you already have an established online business. If you're just starting out, you don't have your messaging dialed in yet, maybe you don't already have a validated offer, then scaling and outsourcing this is not gonna make any sense for you right now. That's not to say that you shouldn't be posting content, as you absolutely should be, and you wanna start that as early as humanly possible. But in the beginning, you need to do the work yourself, create the post yourself, learn what works and what doesn't before you can actually create leverage with this. But if you already have an established offer, you have happy clients, and you have a traffic source that's converting, this is for you. If you're already creating content and you're looking to scale up your volume while removing yourself from the process, then this is definitely for you. And if you're at the point where you're looking into maybe hiring a creative director or hiring a social media manager, then you're definitely gonna wanna check this out. Also, make sure you have the right expectations. This is not something that's necessarily gonna grow your company overnight. And Alex even said that it took him about 18 months before he started actually seeing traction with his content. So patience is the ultimate advantage here. It's only gonna get more expensive and more competitive to build an audience. So the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time is today. All right, so word of caution as we get going here, this is not something that you're gonna be doing yourself. You're gonna put the infrastructure in place once and let it run without you. This is not a video where I'm gonna show you how to edit reels or how to use scheduling platforms. This is all about removing yourself, stepping fully into that CEO role, and scaling up your brand. This is exactly what I would do today if I were building this out for myself again, and it's what we've done time and time again for our clients. All right, so let's get to it. Alex has explained this in terms of a very simple 3-step framework. Step 1 is to plan, step 2 is to create, and step 3 is to distribute. And you'll definitely want to stay to the end on this one because I'm actually going to show you how you can be everywhere on all the social media channels without even having to log into a single account if you didn't want to. One thing Alex does extremely well is pick the right topics. His topics are highly relevant, they hook you in, and they call out his ideal audience. Ultimately, the success of your content is gonna depend on how well you know your market. For this reason, I think planning is one of the parts that you should have a pulse on yourself as the founder, right? Because you understand marketing, you understand the psychological components of your audience, and the questions and objections that your team is getting on sales calls, which all should be turned into different pieces of content that you create. Now, everything you create has to be completely in line with your client avatar. And at the end of the day, if you're not getting traction, you're not getting conversions like you want, and you're not seeing a difference in your lead quality from your content, then this is probably the part that's off. I will say ChatGPT can be super helpful here, but it can't do everything for you. And by the way, just make sure to subscribe because next week, I'm actually gonna be breaking down my ChatGPT prompts that I use to get YouTube keyword research done in just a couple minutes. So overall, this process should start with a simple brain dump. Now, the process that we take our clients through also includes going through their own ideals and their own values and making sure that that becomes part of the planning process, part of the content creation. This is really important because people want to know who you are. But at the same time, when it comes to your personal brand, you're not just selling your product or your service, you're selling ideals and values. So other things to include in the brain dump here are a deep dive on FAQs from clients and prospects, the questions that you get all the time, write those down. Then you want to address what are the limiting beliefs that your clients may have before working with you, and what common objections do you get on sales calls. Now, another great way to get ideas is to look to the top podcasts, courses, or blogs that your audience already follows and look at their episode titles. When it comes to collecting ideas as you go through your daily life, we used to recommend keeping them all in one place on a note on your phone or on a spreadsheet. But what's even better is Alex's Twitter brain dump method, which is how he tests and keeps track of ideas. So instead of keeping your content ideas stored somewhere else as they come up, tweet them out live instead. This way you can get immediate feedback with little risk here, and you can take the tweets that people respond to and turn those into your longer videos. And you can even read the tweet in a short form video or a reel, and then you could even post a screenshot of it on Instagram. And there's plenty of other things you can do with this as well. So you've got a solid list of topics based on an understanding of your audience and a place to track your ideas as they come up. Great. But this is where a lot of people stop, and we can't effectively hit our goal of client acquisition in phase 2 if this is all we do. So there's one simple shift you can make to your content creation strategy that will make all the difference, not only in how your content is performing, but also in cutting down the time that you're currently spending on content. So the largest source of traffic out there, whether paid or organic, is search engine traffic. Google is not only the category king in this space, but it also happens to be the #1 visited website in the world. It owns the #2 search engine and the most visited site in the world, YouTube. So most people know this already, but most people don't do anything with this information. So what this means is that if you create your content for YouTube, it shows up in Google search results. Unlike Reels or other social posts, YouTube video is evergreen. And if it's optimized and the content is good, that video will show up in that search result for years to come. Now, this doesn't happen on any other social media platform. So you want to do keyword research on your topic ideas from the brain dump that we did earlier in order to optimize them for search engine results. And you're now hacking what used to take months to get your content to rank on Google. Now, this is part of what we do for clients, and we hand them back their customized topics so that all they have to do is film. But if you're doing it yourself, keyword research can be really simple. You can just put in your main keywords using sites like Keywords Everywhere, which is a Chrome extension, or answerthepublic.com, and you'll instantly be able to see search volume. You can also use something like TubeBuddy or vidIQ to see not only the search volume along with other suggested keywords, but also the competition for these terms. You want to focus first on videos that have good search volume and low or little competition. All right, so we've got step 1, planning, covered. Now, this is probably the most cumbersome part of the process, but it's something that's really done once for an entire quarter or 6 months in advance, and then you can revisit it as needed. Now, when you do this stage right, everything else is a breeze. So let's recap. Your action item is to take 1 day, less than that maybe, and plan out 2 to 4 hours to knock this out. You're gonna list out your ideals and values, your client transformations, FAQs, common objections, limiting beliefs, and then your top publications that your audience already follows. Then you're gonna run those topics through keyword research. From this process, you should end up with a list of content topics that will be more than enough for about 6 to 12 months of content, depending on your business and strategy. All right, next, step 2 is to create. This process is simple, as you should first be providing value and then making a call to action. But to create content that truly moves people to take action, you've got to have a framework. Alex sets this up into 3 stages. So number 1, record. Number 2, inject. And number 3, contextualize. So if you're using Alex's testing method on Twitter, your tweet threads can become ideas for long form videos, and your tweets can become short form reels. He often tells a story of when the concept of short form video clicked for him, and he realized it's just a spoken tweet. Now, while you can get a lot from repurposing longer content, you want to film both long and short form content. Your long form content provides depth, and your short form content is much wider in scope and topic. Now, one way we break this down with our clients is we use the more personal ideals bucket for short form. So these are going to be the wider, more kind of viral-ish topics. So think hobbies, mindset, habits, disciplines, things you always do, things you hate, things you never do, those kinds of things. All of that makes for great short form videos. And on your keyword research topics, that's where you want to go more in depth. Now, when it comes to the format for your videos, the formula here is simple as well. CTR, or click-through rate, times watch time is the goal. So to create winning videos on YouTube, you need people to be interested in the content and get them to click, and then you need them to stay and watch, which happens when the content makes good on the promise in the thumbnail. But just by changing how you title your videos or moving around a few words, this can be the difference behind being optimized for search or getting the click and your video falling flat. Now, Alex does this a lot with his content. His thumbnails and titles reflect what people actually want and are searching for. And in the video, a lot of times he just talks about whatever he wants, still on topic, but he gives crazy value while still being relevant to the overall topic. But you can ultimately take your viewers in whatever direction you want. Now, recording should be the easiest part of this entire process. You want to schedule one full day a month or a half day each month, depending on how much content you plan on putting out. Seriously, put it on your calendar, block it out, protect it, tell your team you're unavailable. You can do it for one day a month. Then choose 4 to 6 topics from the previous steps that'll become your long form videos on YouTube. So those should be your keyword researched topics. In addition, you want to choose 10 or so topics for short form as a bonus. Now, for each video topic that you chose, either script out word for word or outline what you're going to talk about. Now, if you study any of Alex's content, people love him because he gives insane value in everything he does. He's not worried about giving away too much for free. In fact, he's strategic about this and says the longer you delay the ask, the bigger the ask can be. So if you think about the real output when creating content, it's not the actual video itself or the reel or the thing that you're selling, it's the audience. The audience is the thing that compounds on itself. So you do the work once to create this video, and more people see it over time with no additional effort on your part. So when you shift your outcome to building an audience, to getting one more person to see this, and you focus on just giving value, it takes any pressure off you on what to say or trying to sell. So now that you have your script, here's where we want to focus on step 2, injecting. Now, he credits this strategy as the reason they grew the podcast from 20,000 to 400,000 downloads a month just by having calls to action. He says to record 2 versions of every call to action you have: lead magnets, a book, lower ticket items, tag a friend or share this post, booking a call, asking for clients, all of that. And then inject these throughout the podcast episode or your longer form YouTube videos. After your intro or your first point in your video, you might inject the call to action to share, tag someone, or subscribe to your channel. And then maybe halfway through, especially if it ties to a point that you're teaching, inject the call to action to book a call for more help or to get your lead magnet. And you can inject a final one at the end. The more that you can keep people on the platform, meaning on YouTube or wherever they're watching the content, the better your metrics will be and the more you'll be rewarded by the platform itself. So a great way to do this is by creating a Netflix style strategy when choosing your long form topics. Now, at the end of any good TV show, they always show a clip of what's coming up in the next episode, or they leave you with a cliffhanger that you have to watch the next episode to find out what happens. Your videos can and should do the same thing. So for example, something like this: hey, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified when I release the next video in this series. And I'm gonna walk you through step by step how you can plan out your next 6 months of content. Now, in the editing phase, he talks about contextualizing each piece of content for the platform that's gonna be posted on, or make the video match the platform. An easy way to do this is using a different thumbnail on TikTok versus using just the captions as the thumbnail with a hook on Instagram. And then you could also change this style for LinkedIn. Now, I promised I'd show you how to do this for way less than 70,000 a month. And to stay consistent and get the volume that you'll need for this strategy to be effective, you obviously can't expect to do this all on your own. So while you probably could go and edit these videos yourself, it's definitely not a great use of your time. And in the time that it takes you to edit one video for a week's worth of content, you probably could have planned and filmed your next 4 weeks of content. So next up, you'll want to go find the right editor that can contextualize this stuff for you for each platform. And they can even go through your longer form videos and repurpose them into short form, into reels, graphics, tweets, carousels, and yes, even have them use ChatGPT to provide captions and hashtags for you. Now, this is exactly what our team does for you, so you don't have to go out and hire or train. But if you are doing this on your own, be prepared to put in a lot of work up front to get this right. Training is everything. And to give you context, we personally have over 1,000 video editor applicants apply to work with us each month, and we deny well over 80% of them. Now, the ones that do make it are often actually weeded out in our training process. But if you're up for the challenge, you can go to sites like onlinejobs.ph or Upwork, and you can find editors for anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month, depending on where they're located. Now, you'll want your editor to be full-time with you and not freelancing so that they can take care of everything for you. So I definitely don't recommend something like Fiverr. Always have them complete a test project where you have them edit a sample video for you before hiring them. Never go off just a portfolio or resume. The test project also allows you to test other soft skills, like their ability to understand directions, communication, and timeliness. So next, you will need an organized workflow and posting process to plug your editor in and make this work. And even if you're a team of one and it's just you and your editor, take the time to build this out and avoid going back and forth in Slack or over email with your creative needs, your new videos, and your revisions. It will get messy quick, and especially as you start to create more and more content. And you'll end up wondering why this isn't working for you. So instead, consider creating some kind of submission form template that triggers a task to be created inside of a project management system like ClickUp or Asana, and then keep all of your videos, edits, and files organized within that system as well. Now, you could also set up an automation to notify your editor every time a new file hits your Dropbox folder. So that way, when you're done filming a video, it automatically notifies the editor to get started on it. Now, while Alex has a team that films for him, if we're gonna keep this under $70,000 a month, then you're definitely gonna be filming yourself, which is relatively easy with the right setup. Now, I'd recommend using a software like OBS. It's free and it allows you to have the output of your recording go straight into a Dropbox folder. This eliminates the need for an SD card or for you having to spend hours trying to transfer large video files from your phone to your computer to then hand off to your editor. So once your files are complete, you're gonna set up a system where your editor can send to you for review. Now, this is easily done in that same project management system that you set up above, and you can easily review and provide feedback in one place. So this now brings us to the third and final step, distribution. Volume and consistency are key, and this is where the ultimate leverage comes in. So from your one day of filming, you should have all the content you need for every platform. Your editor has created both the long and short form, and you've gotten other assets as well, such as your graphics, your tweets, and you're able to turn those tweets into feed posts and carousel posts. Now, no matter what anyone tells you, do not create a content calendar. No matter the system someone tries to sell you on, no matter how pretty that spreadsheet looks, do not touch it. This will make or break the success of your content machine. So instead of figuring out what specific days you're gonna post what, instead create a bank and a posting schedule for that bank. So for example, if you wanna post one short form a day on platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, then that's one bank. You choose when you wanna post, say Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. every day. Then find a social media scheduler that lets you create a schedule like this. They all call it different things. So for example, Meet Edgar actually specializes in this. Metricool calls it auto lists. And I think a lot of the other major schedulers have names for this as well. Now, there are tons of options out there for free or less than $25 a month. Pick the one that works for you and then build out your banks and schedule. Now, once a piece of content is uploaded that fits whatever criteria you set for these banks, it's automatically added and it goes into a queue to post out based on the set schedule. So you do this once and you never do it again. Once your files are complete and approved by you, you'll want your editor to upload them to your social media scheduler, where they will automatically be added to the right list. Next, you can use a site like ChatGPT or find a copywriter from Upwork at $10 an hour or less to write captions for all of your assets and to write your YouTube descriptions for you. Now, depending on the platform, you'll have to add these captions in as you upload the content, or you can add them in later and have a final approval before anything can go live, either by setting the post in a draft mode or physically having to approve the post, depending on the scheduler you're using. Now, again, we build this all out for our clients, so all they have to do is film, and there might be a link somewhere in the description for more info about that. But if you follow this on your own, you have an editor for roughly $500 to $1,000 a month, and maybe a copywriter for about the same, plus the price of your scheduler, and that should put you in right around $1,400, $1,500, maybe $2,000 a month. Now you have a system just like Alex Hormozi's without the overhead and without the spend. Now, I know we flew through this and it was a very high level overview, so if you do want to do a deeper dive on each one of these components so that you can actually walk alongside me and set it up inside your business, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications, as I'm actually gonna be breaking down each step of this in more detail in upcoming videos. I'll see you there.